I get a lot of questions about what it is that I do for my budget routine. And there are a lot of things that I do for my budget routine. So I thought I would come and lay them out in a video for you. My budget routine is kind of extensive. I've been doing this for a lot of years. So I have added new habits as I've gone over the years that have really helped me to keep track of my budget. I'm going to lay out what I do. I'll lay it out for you, but I don't want you to feel overwhelmed when you see all of these things that I do. Just know that they have come little steps at a time. You pick what you like and you add that into your routine. Eventually, you'll add something else. Once you do one of these things for a while, you can add another step. And then after a while, you can add another step. I don't want you to jump right in and think you have to do all of these things right away, all the time. That would be very overwhelming. But this will just give you a good picture of what I do. And not all of these are my ideas. I've picked these things up from other people that I have watched on YouTube or other people that I have spent time with. And I have added these into my routine over the years. I'll break these things down into monthly, weekly, and daily routines for you that I do to help me stay on track with my budget. Pick one from each category and do those things, and that'll help you. If you can't pick one from each category, just pick the monthly budget for now. Just pick the monthly budget, and then the rest will come over time.
Hi, I'm Megan with Bethel Budgets. I'm here because it's more than just math. At some point, you've probably built a budget. You've laid out your income, you've laid out your expenses, and thought it's simple math. I'll just stick to what's on the paper. But then life happened and your budget didn't work out. The reason? Because it's more than just math. That's where I come in. Let's figure this out together. Don't give up. You've got this.
As far as monthly routines for my family's financial health, there are 4 things that I do monthly that I'm going to tell you about. The first thing that I do every month is I build a zero-based budget. And I do that before the month begins. That's very important. You're going to build your budget the week before the month begins. You don't wait until the first of the month to build your budget. It's too late. You're going to run into a more than just math situation because something's going to come out before you planned it. And you're going to have this situation where you're like, oh, shoot, I already messed it up. I'll just do better next month. Don't do that. You do your budget a week before the month begins, so it is ready on time. The second monthly routine that I have for my family's financial health is to do a weekly spending plan. As soon as I've done that monthly zero-based budget, I break that down into a weekly spending plan. So I look at what dates I'm getting paid and I break that down by paycheck and by what bills are coming out of each paycheck so that I know I have enough income that week to cover the bills that are due that week. That way I can look and problem solve. Do I need to move due dates? Do I need to get a buffer or plan a month ahead? All of these things can be planned for, but not if you're not watching. You have to do a weekly spending plan so you have a better picture of what's going on. The third monthly budget routine that I do for my family's financial health is to do a monthly budget closeout. Always at the end of the month, you're going to close out your budget. So really, this is actually done once the new month starts. You're going to do this couple days in. So if we're in February, March 3rd or so, find a day that you have time to sit down and close out your budget. You're going to look at every category and you're going to look, did I overspend or underspend? And you're going to, one, create plans for whether you've overspent or underspent so that the next month's budget can be more refined and better. But you're going to look at your transfers that you're going to make into savings, things you're taking out of savings. You're going to get this whole picture of how well you followed your plan and what do you have left over. In the end, did you overspend? And what are you going to do? Do you have to transfer money from savings? Are you in debt now? What's your plan? What are you going to do? Now, do we have to go to the debt digging tab? And do we have to start a snowball or an avalanche? What are we going to do? Or do you have extra money? And what's your plan? Are you going to put it on debt digging? Are you going to fund your emergency fund? Are you going to put it into sinking funds? You have to close out your budget so that you know what to do with that extra money. If you just think, oh, I've got extra money floating around, then you're going to spend it. And you're not just going to spend it, you're going to spend more. And then you're going to be in a pickle and it's going to mess up your budget. Don't set yourself up for a more than just math moment. So that's the third thing that I do. The fourth thing that I do in my monthly budget routine for my family's financial health is I'm teaching my kids to budget. When my children turn 10 years old, they earn an income. We don't do allowance and you get a nickel for this or a dollar for this. I don't do charts or anything like this. You just do chores because you live here and you're part of this family and that's your job. But when you turn 10, I start giving you an income. You earn $10 a month when you turn 10 years old. And for your birthday, you get a Chromebook. And on this Chromebook is a Google Sheet. And you sit down once a month and you spend time with mom and you learn how to budget. They learn how to give, save, and spend. And their first job is to save up enough of an emergency fund to cover the cost of their Chromebook so that if it falls down the stairs, they can replace it. And they can save up for fun things too. Like my 10-year-old right now is saving up for this massive pack of Pokemon cards that he wants. He's almost there too. It's like $100. He's almost there. He's working really hard. So they can earn extra money for pay chores and things like that, pooper scooping or, raking leaves or shoveling snow, whatever is going on. They can earn extra money for reading books too. And we budget all of that. So they get to spend time with mom, but they're also learning. So then this will carry on, hopefully, for their families' legacies as well. They won't have the debt problems that mom and dad did when they get married because they'll already know how to give and save and spend. So those are the four things that I do for monthly for my family's financial health. 1, build a budget. 2, weekly spending plan. 3, close out that budget. And 4, I'm teaching my kids to budget. So there are also weekly routines that I have for my family's financial health. There are 4 things that I do every week. The first one is paycheck closeouts. So it goes along with the weekly spending that I talk about. Once I've got that weekly spending plan, at the end of each paycheck, I go back and I close that out to see how I did that week. Did I overspend that week? Did I underspend that week? How are my due dates? All of those pieces don't just fall into a place over the month, but if we keep a closer eye on them week by week by week, we can further fine tune where those details and problems or bonuses are arising. We have to keep a close eye on what we're doing, and a weekly check-in is really, really a healthy routine to be in. If you are not to a place where you can do a budget closeout every week, that's okay, but you need to weekly go and check on your budget. Which leads me to the second thing that I do as a weekly routine for my family's financial health is I do check on my budget every single week. When I'm doing that closeout or without it, even before I started doing that budget closeout, is I looked at every category. Are we over in this category? Are we under? And I would take the time to let my husband know, which goes to the third thing that I'll talk about in a second. But I would check the calendar and make sure that due dates were happening, that the tithes were in the calendar, that the transfers were in the calendar, and that they were happening when they were supposed to, that the debt payoff was happening when they were supposed to, because you do not want to miss a due date for a credit card. You pay that off when it was supposed to, and we don't carry over our debts. If we're using a credit card, we're paying it off at the first of the month, every single month. So it doesn't carry over. But these are things you're checking your calendar, you're checking your categories, you're seeing how you do. So 1 is paycheck closeout. 2 is, I call it a Saturday check-in because that happens to be the day I pick to do my check-in. The third weekly routine that I do for my family's financial health is to have a regular budget meeting with my husband. If you don't have a husband and you have a boyfriend, fine, meet with him. Meet with your fiance, meet with your best friend, meet with your sister, meet with your brother, meet with somebody that you can count on. Call them your accountability partner. We call them your budget team. If it's your adult child that you share a budget with, find somebody to meet with that you can share your budget with that will sit and look at your numbers and talk these things over with you. If you overspend in a category, you need to talk to somebody about that and figure out why. What happened? You need somebody to bounce these ideas off of. We had a situation where we had overspent in our birthday category because 4 of my children got invited to birthday parties and I had a baby shower. So we totally overspent. And I was thinking, do we add to that budget? Is maybe $100 in that category not enough? But then because I got to sit down and talk to somebody about that, we realized neither of us could remember the last time that happened in that category. So we decided to just chill out, leave it the way it was, and see if that ever happens again. Maybe then we'll think about it. But it's never happened before. So we're just going to carry on business as usual and call that a fluke. But had I not had somebody with a calmer, cooler head to talk that over with, I probably would have upped that to 150. And then, that takes money out of somewhere else in my budget. So find somebody that you can have a regular budget meeting with and do that weekly. Talk about your categories. How are things going? It helps hold you accountable, especially if you're having spending problems in certain areas. Dining out is a big one for people, or coffees. I'm not saying you have to give up your coffee, but if that is a problem for you, have somebody you can talk about it with. So that's super important, to have somebody that you can talk about your budget with and have a weekly budget meeting. So that was number 3 and 4 in my weekly in my weekly budget routine for what I do for my family's financial health. Is 3 was have a weekly budget meeting, and 4 is to have an accountability partner. So I kind of combined the two. They're both so important and they go hand in hand. You have to have somebody to share a budget with, or to share your meeting with, and to share your ideas with and bounce things off of. And you have to do that regularly. So 3 and 4, I don't know what number I said 3 minutes ago in this video, but there you go. Those are the 3 or 4 things that I do in my weekly budget routine for my family's financial health. Okay, that brings me to daily. My daily budget routine for my family's financial health is that every day I do what's called, some people call a power hour. And I sit down at my computer and I check my calendar and I check my email and I check my every dollar. Every single day, it's just part of my morning routine. And I make sure I look for any new transactions that have come in and I categorize them. If I do it daily, it takes like 5 minutes. Some people do this weekly and it takes like 30, which is okay too. But you need to make a habit to regularly check your transactions and categorize them where they need to go. I do this daily because I'd rather spend 5 minutes a day than give up a chunk of time somewhere else in the week. It just makes more sense to me. And I like having a power hour. If you don't have a power hour type of situation yet, I highly recommend one. On mine, I have, my everyday tasks that I do: email, calendar, every dollar. I have to make a social media post for work, all these things that I do every day. And then I have my weekly tasks that I do. Monday, I'll update the website, and just all these different things that I do. It's a mixed power hour for personal and work. I just knock it all out in about an hour. And then I have a list 1 through 31. And then almost every day has something written on it that I do. It's a monthly task. So I have my daily tasks, my weekly tasks, my monthly tasks, and then I just can go work on my to-do list after that because everything is all cleared out. My brain is clear. I'm at 0 and I can just get to work at that point. So daily routine for my budget and my sanity is my daily power hour, and I've checked my every dollar and categorized all my transactions. So those are my routines that I have built up over the years that I've been budgeting. I have monthly routines, weekly routines, and daily routines that I follow that help my family to have better financial health. I hope that you have picked up an idea or two. Again, if you're just getting started, don't tackle all of these routines at once. Start with the monthly budget, start with the weekly spending plan, and close out your budget. Those are the 3 most important steps you have to do to get healthy budget and get your more than just math moments straightened out. Please don't be overwhelmed. Don't give up. You've got this.